Everybody, we're talking to Tia. It's Levings, right?
Levings.
Sorry, Tia Levings. She is author of the book A Well-Trained Wife. A documentary just came out, or the trailer just came out today, called Shiny Happy People. She also has a podcast called Unchurchable. Sorry, let's say that
No,
again.
the Working Writer podcast.
Oh, the Working Writer podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
She also has a podcast called the Working Writer Podcast, and she's telling an incredible story of basically a journey away from your life in the fundamentalist Christian society, and you're reaching back and trying to help others escape this systemic way of life that
Exactly.
very much represents, to me, like Laura talked about in the interview, was the Handmaid's Tale. Very much like this playing of how we want our life in our homes to look like life in society. But when I watched that, it seemed so far-fetched and from reality, but you bring a real clear picture of how the reality is not far-fetched.
Yeah.
And maybe you said that your story could be a prequel to this. Could you maybe just explain to people a little bit about how that might all work? Because we're in a much shorter segment here, and it might intrigue people to understand how your real life story could make something like The Handmaid's Tale seem more realistic.
Yeah. Well, in relation to The Handmaid's Tale, because Margaret Atwood used real Christian fundamentalist groups as her model, it was based on reality. And that reality has followed the trajectory in our country. A lot of people can say, okay, we've had this tension and division, and we obviously have this religious right presence, but they don't necessarily understand how strategic it was. And it went into place in the late 80s through Bill Gothard's Institute of Basic Life Principles, which is the subject matter of the documentary that I'm a part of. And the whole hallmark of the IBLP's shtick is that your lifestyle, the way you run your home, is the way that you should also take dominion and run the country, run the world. The dominion theology means that Christians have a mandate from God to take dominion of the world.
Right.
So the way they live is their model. Is the way they think everybody should live. And because they're going to take that into power with them, that is why we start seeing these laws that may seem like, oh, we just have this red wave, or we have these really weird abortion bans, or we don't understand, like, where is this all coming from? It is so strategic, and it is so theological. And it's present. It's been present all along, behind closed doors. Women can't speak about it. Survivors are usually too traumatized to speak about it. And so I'm an outlier because I've done my work and I'm able to speak about it without re-traumatizing myself. And I feel a calling and conviction to share it with everybody because I love my country and I know what's happening to it.
Now, your journey to this realization was through personal experience, right? Like, so you were being controlled and indoctrinated into this thing, and at what point did you start to see it come apart? Where was it? Because I know that I've been watching Waco 2, the Waco, the Aftermath, which I find it interesting to find that these really intelligent, smart, wonderful people get pulled into something where the rest of the world can look at it and be like, how did that ever happen? Or that person's crazy. But there's something seductive and something very honest and truthful, I think, in the origin of the relationship.
Absolutely. It's important to note that no one joins a cult. They don't come out and say, here's our cult, come join it. They're not upfront about the suffering that you will experience. They sell a beautiful image of a solution to life that comforts you in times of chaos. So we are very ripe right now in our country for cult rising because we have chaotic feelings. We have feelings out of control. We have people looking for ideological type answers. MAGA is based on this image that life was better in the past, and if we make these choices and pull things back, we will have this beautiful thing. And so you do have thoughtful, intelligent people who really want to have a happy life, a happy marriage, a happy country. They want order. They want reason and lawfulness restored, and so they have good intentions, and they fall prey to these systems that promise the formula. If you follow the formula, you will have the outcome.
Right.
A lot of what I do inspects the fruit, which is actually what the Bible says to do. Be you fruit inspectors. You look at what that produces, and then you hold it up against the promise. Are they the same? No. The fruit of cult life is rotten. It's suffering. It's criminality. It's abuse. And that's why it's important that we talk about what it actually like to live in it. Then we can see the reflection back of, oh, this was a system of high control. This was a cult.
When did you have that realization that you were like, I am in something that is not safe, that is not designed for me to thrive, and what am I going to do?
Yeah, that's a really gradual unraveling, because I always thought for years, for probably, I don't know, 15 years, I thought that I could unravel, or we call it deconstruct, these behavior patterns without like upsetting the entire apple cart. I could stop doing this parenting behavior, or we could change churches, or we could, do different things to bring down some of the control, return to the mainstream, and I wouldn't have to leave everything.
Kind of minimize your
exactly.
actions. Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
and
really
your,
try.
And your involvement.
And you still see that when people leave their faith, they think, oh, well, how can I deconstruct my faith and still remain a Christian? If you're determining the outcome from the beginning, you're not free to truly let it break down the way that it needs to break down. So open-endedness really matters, and that's probably a 30-year journey for me to realize that if I'm going to question something, I need to be okay with uncertainty. I need to have a tolerance for some discomfort. I need to be able to be curious and ask questions. But all of that is a very, very long journey. I did have to leave my first marriage in order to live. I had to leave the patriarchy in order to leave high control. I went into a softer, more benevolent control from there, and that still didn't afford me an identity. So it is an unpacking process that I would say took 30 years.
And you're not the only one. There are a lot of people going through this process. And are you guys finding each other?
We are. God bless. Social media. It's ironic I say it that way, but
I know. I was gonna follow up that question. Actually.
Yeah.
God bless.
Social media and the internet. Yes, we have found one another. Hashtags are remarkable. The deconstruction, the ex-evangelical, the ex-Mormon. I didn't know that Christian fundamentalists had so much in common with fundamentalist Mormons, but we have a lot, and we have discovered that online. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. I lived in Utah for 18 years, and I came in as a sort of non-practicing, in a very observative mode, and think of it very much like a cult.
Yes.
And I was in and out and over the line with, and actually now I know some people in my life that have taken themselves out of the church, and they are recovering Mormons, they call themselves, I guess. And so this is becoming the storytelling and the sharing of each other's journeys are becoming ways of healing. Is that right?
It's power. And we find commonality, we find community, and we find conjoined energy to do the thing that seemed so hard on our own. It also debunks the myth that we were ever alone in the first place.
Wow. How do you not just despise the people that try to control you? How do you find any compassion or any understanding for those people in your life? Yeah,
this is a radical act of love on my part. I gave them my yesterday. They took my yesterday. They do not get my present, and they do not get my future. I believe very heartedly in reclamation, and there's more ahead than all it's been. I'm not giving them another second of my life except to tell their stories and all their secrets.
Good. I have a tremendous yearning for justice inside, and so when you talk about, sort of knowingly being abused or, managed in a way that is I find to be evil, to be honest with you. But there's this piece of me that's just focused on that. Like, how could somebody do that? I am really curious about. I love documentaries about this stuff. I think sort of just a sociological interest in how these things transfold, but I'd love to see people come out and make sense of it. And you speak so eloquently. I see why you are a writer.
Thank you.
You're probably great on camera, so
I'm learning.
She's great on audio.
Look forward to seeing that.
Oh, thank you.
And you tell the story in a way that I think we all can have compassion and understand, and we're really grateful to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You guys have to check out the book when it comes out in 2024 called The Well-Trained Wife. The docu-series, it's a 4-part series?
Yes.
On Amazon.
Yes.
Comes out, Shiny Happy People. The trailer's out currently. And check out her episode yesterday. It was fantastic. You and Laura get along really well.
Yeah. Kindred spirits.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you.